Hello, I'm Brigantia Blackbird of the Blackbird Grimoire. Welcome to the daily forecast for Thursday, March 19th, 2024, or I should say March 14th. Okay, bit ahead of ourselves. Never mind. Moving on. Point is, good morning. Happy Thursday. Let's hail Thor the Protector. Apparently, I also need a protector for both my typing skills and my memory. But anyway, today's astrology. The sun is in the sign of Pisces, a mutable water sign representing compassion. The moon is in the first quarter Taurus, fixed earth, representing industriousness. Then it will go void of course at 5:29 p.m. Central Time, and then it will enter later on first quarter Gemini, a mutable air sign, adaptable at 10:16 p.m. Central Time. So we're going to be most of the day in Taurus, and then we'll have a pretty lengthy void moon, and then we'll be going into Gemini right at the end. Mercury is in the sign of Aries, a cardinal fire sign representing alertness. Venus is in the sign of Pisces, a mutable water sign representing compassion. Mars is in Aquarius, a fixed air sign representing staid energy. Jupiter is in Taurus, a fixed earth sign representing practicality. Saturn is in Pisces, a mutable water sign representing nostalgia. Uranus is in Taurus, a fixed earth sign representing renovation. Neptune is in Pisces, a mutable water sign representing the imagination. And lastly, Pluto is in Aquarius, a fixed air sign representing reformation. Our moon phase is, of course, still the first quarter waxing crescent. So if you haven't already, set your intentions, put them into motion. Let's keep this going because in a couple of days, we're going to be moving into that second quarter and our energy shift will need to shift accordingly. Because we will be going into the Gemini moon, even though it is later on in the day, just to be aware, do be social, do communicate freely, and don't be afraid to network. What you shouldn't do, you should be avoiding unventilated spaces and distractions and people who communicate at a snail's pace. So it could be someone who just talks really slow and just goes on forever without getting to the point. Or it could be people who are not very good at checking their emails or their DMs or wherever the snag in communication has. If you do not have to deal with someone like that today, probably going to be for the best. Now, this is the day of Jupiter, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion and luck. In its current placement in Taurus, this energy is the kind that rewards steady working. So just keep on going. It'll keep rewarding you the further you get closer to your ultimate goal. And you can also take advantage of the coming Gemini moon by rallying the troops if you are needing help or any kind of assistance with whatever it is you are working on, particularly if it's a project that's a little bit more group oriented to begin with. Today, later today, and then going into tomorrow, this will really be a good day for it. Now, today's tarot card, we have the Queen of Wands. Queens represent intuition, being nurturing and helpful. The suit of Wands represents the fire element, projective energy, and drive. And the keywords for this particular card are self-sufficient, vitality, and determination, which any woman who has a solar fire sign in her chart, she knows exactly what it is because this is a description of who she is. If there's something to be done, not only will she do it herself, she will be quite convinced that her doing it herself is absolutely the best way for something to be done. It is all about bringing that energy and not just, manic energy. It is, I'm so excited to be doing this. I have a vision. I'm bringing that vision into fruition. It's all pure enthusiasm, very focused enthusiasm, which goes along with that determination of, I will get this done. I am selling forth. I will do all of these things. It is, but again, remember, because this is coming in the card of the Queen of Wands, alongside this, you're also going to have the soft edges. You're going to have that intuition, so you can know without having to, really think too logically about how to get around any little mishaps today. You're going to find your way through progress by, taking care of someone, being helpful to them, and then you can bring them into the fold so they can also be helpful to you. You can see how it becomes a very reciprocal kind of exchange when you're following the counsel of the Queen of Wands. Now, for the Celtic Triad today, It reads three things which the law abiding will gain: health, success, and honor. So, when it comes to health and the idea of being law abiding, that requires recognizing natural law and cooperating with it. Your body is going to function better by doing certain things or by avoiding certain things. And no matter how much you wish otherwise, you can't just change those givens. It is going to be what it is. Biology always wins. Um, Reality is always comes down to biology. Everything else is going to be extrapolated from that. So if you are going to be healthy, you're going to need to be working within the confines of your biology. And this really includes considering what kind of stage of life you're at. If you are in your 50s and you're trying to go through life with the same kind of gusto as you had in your 20s, that's not going to work out well for you. It is okay for things to be different. It's okay for things to slow down. It's okay for you to make use of all those shortcuts you've learned throughout the years, as long as you're not shortchanging anything that's important. If you simply recognize a more efficient way of doing something, there's nothing wrong with seeing that through. Don't get caught up in vanity or how you wish things would be and end up doing yourself an injury. Now, when it comes to success, doing well, that tends to be a bit easier and more longer lasting when you aren't being underhanded in your dealings. And when we're talking about law abiding, we're not necessarily talking about secular law. I wish we were. I wish our society was currently in a state where the laws that existed are laws that have good reason to exist and there's actual benefit to it, instead of it seems to be just this quagmire of little things to trip people up so the government can collect fines and say do this or we'll do dreadful things to you. I hate the mafioso kind of style of governance that we're experiencing right now. It is such an anathema to American culture, to basic American philosophy, to me, just as an American living in the modern age. Everything about it is so wrong. So if we're going to be talking about success, clearly we're not talking about the mess of what currently is with regards to the law. If we're going to be law abiding, I would again say let's be operating within those laws of nature. Human beings are fads. They can only be sustained for too long if it's not going with that natural flow. So recognizing that and realizing, I might have some hardship right now for doing what actually makes sense as opposed to what other people trying to pressure me to do. However, in the long run, that's going to be a much better result. So, and also I think uh, we could do ourselves a favor if we reconsider the idea of what exactly constitutes success, because I don't think the consumeristic ideal of, your success is measured by how many toys you have. I don't think that really I don't think that really works anymore. I mean, that's always been very superficial. I think that's always been a very twisted understanding of what success is, because the whole point of this country was to have liberty, to have the liberty to do what you ought to be doing. It wasn't about everyone will have a mansion or that there'll be no difference in the lifestyle between the poor and the rich or anything of that kind. Success isn't about the material objects themselves. It is about the material really being in its proper place, being rewarded for the work that you actually do, and having the spiritual richness right alongside that. So there's a lot of things to go on with that. Then, of course, at the end, we talk about how the law abiding will gain honor. Now, in order to have honor of any description, that means living up to a strong moral code, and that acts like a crown upon the person's character. And with honor, that's not something that's really defined by an outside source. It requires you having a sense of integrity about who you are, what you really believe in, and walking your talk. That's essentially what honor is. And we have such a deficit of honor. There are so many people that, if they were just being honest about what they really thought and what they really did, we might not like what that consists of, but they would still have honor because they were being upfront about who and what they were about. And you can choose to have dealings with them or not on that basis. It's when people deceive, it's when people twist things around, when they try to corrupt, that's when things really start going south. And if you wonder why the state of the world is the way it is because people have a deficit in honor. Now, for today's magical intention, we have hope, because we need hope, amongst other reasons. The color for this intention is white. The plant is white poplar. The animal is the heron, and the stone is the opal. Now, I chose hope because we do live in very stressful times. And again, this is another opportunity for us to use our skills to reinvigorate our hope and to reinvigorate our energy just in general. People can't do anything if they really don't have any hope for any kind of betterment of their situation. And it isn't about striving for some false utopian ideal. That's not what I'm talking about when I talk about hope. I'm talking about getting things back onto a sense of balance, of harmony, of things really being in their right place. And again, and it's not about having all the toys you want or all of these other things. It is about righting the world and knowing that the world can be righted and that evil just doesn't keep on going unchecked forever. And of course, and to be part of the efforts of making sure that evil does get checked, you have to have hope because without hope, you will eventually run out of energy and you won't be moving forward on that anymore. So, for our pagan practice today, you might, if you would care to, bake some carrot and cream cheese scones in anticipation for Astara. And especially if you are having a smaller Astara ritual, you might not want to go to the effort of making a cake or something more elaborate, but homemade scones. Those have always gone over really well for offerings, at least for me. So, it might be something you might try out. You can meditate on your vision of what constitutes personal success because, as we mentioned during the discussion with the triad, success isn't just about, how much money we have in the bank or, how many material objects we have. It's different than that. Another thing you can do today is open the windows, weather permitting, air out any stagnant energy, and again, just refresh yourselves. There's something about that living, moving, breathing air. Just it breaks out a person out of the doldrums. You can burn cinnamon incense to attract luck, and of course, make an offering to a hearth deity. That's something I like to do on Thursdays. So, here are the pretty orchard trees for you to peruse while you contemplate this journal prompt. Envision yourself taking a stroll through a blossoming orchard. What land spirits or dryads do you think you might encounter, and how would you choose to honor them? And the reason why I'm asking about this is because, for one, how cool would that be to just be going through the orchard and you just sense a presence and you just know in your soul there's something there. And so I believe in being prepared. And so contemplating that possibility before it actually happens, or contemplating how to react the next time if it already has happened to you and you were caught unawares, I think that makes it more likely that you'll be able to, say hello politely, maybe even cultivate a relationship with that particular spirit upon encountering them. So that's what I have for you today. I'll leave your thoughts for me in the comments section below or send me an email at brigantiablackbird@protonmail.com. And yeah, that's it for today. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.